So we'll start our session. First of all, I'd like to welcome all of you for our trial session. My name is Chaturanga. Our IELTS program will be conducted by Mr. Indumini and Sachit and our Miss Lasanti as well. So without wasting much time, I will hand over the session to continue with all three tutors, and they will give you a brief introduction on how they conduct the course and what are the differences of our institute rather than the other institutes existing at the moment.
Good morning to everyone. I'm Santi Pereira, and thank you, Chaturanga, for giving me this opportunity and the earliest opportunity as well to talk, because I'm in UK now. It's a pleasure to welcome you to this institute, one of the best institutes for PTE NAATI and IELTS exams. I think Chaturanga and the other tutors will give you a brief introduction about the class. I will tell you about my part my role in this class. So after the main lecturers do their lectures, and when they identify some of the, when they identify if you all have any special areas which you need improvement, they will forward you to me. Or else if you feel that you need more improvement in specific sections, like whether it's speaking, reading, or as so on. So you can contact the institute and they will forward you to me for special improvements. So then your requirement will be identified individually, and then individual attention will be given to improve that specific area. So that is my contribution in this class. So let's see how it goes on, and hope to see you in the future.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Lasanti. She's one of the prominent IELTS teachers in Sri Lanka as well, now in UK. So hopefully she will be a good assist for our institution as well. Okay, thank you so much for the participation. Then Sachit, also you can speak up, and then over to Mr. Indumini.
Thank you, Chaturanga. Hope you can hear me now.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I will be handling the speaking section of the IELTS test mainly. And I would like to first to build up your confidence on that speaking section, and then look out for your mistakes that you tend to make when you're doing in your speaking section, and then get the help of the other tutors as well in improving those areas. And yeah, we will see how you go, and looking forward to meet you guys.
Yeah, thank you. And you can continue, Mr. Indumini.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Lasanti, and thank you, Sachit. Yes, so I think, hope my slides are visible to you all.
Yeah.
Yes, so today I thought of giving a brief overview of this IELTS course and what are the components that you come across when it comes to the IELTS examination. So by this time, as you all are aware, the IELTS stands for the International English Language Testing System. So mainly during the today's session, these are the areas that I am planning to cover up to give you an overview of the structure. What are the components? When my IELTS exam එකේ මොනවද හම්බ වෙන components, and how are we focus on scoring, because that's also very much important along with the time management, and also to talk about certain helps. That means certain tips that you should understand when following this kind of an examination. And also it's at the beginning, as Chaturanga mentioned, there's always a space for the Q&A sessions, question and answers, because this is a more friendly class where you can raise any questions and you can get feedback. That is what we are also expecting, rather than we are just talking, rather than we are just teaching. You can raise questions and you can clarify your questions. So another thing, I will today give a brief overview of all the components: speaking and listening, writing, reading. But whereas when the course moves on, we'll get the use of the other two tutors who are experts in this area, especially Sachit with regard to the speaking section, and also Ms. Santi, one of the best tutors. So when talking about the test, as you can see, all the candidates are tested in the listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Because I thought of straight away move on to the test rather than just talking about the IELTS, because by this time you may have a good understanding about the IELTS exam and its benefits. Because if you are migrating and if you are trying to study for a higher degrees, this is a very much important examination for the Commonwealth countries. So those things I think you may know. So I thought of straight away move to the exam components. So these are the sections that you will come across in this kind of examination. And also in front of each component, I have mentioned the timing, because timing is very much important when we are talking about the IELTS examination. So usually the test flows like this, starting with the listening test, which contains for 30 minutes. And in that test, there are several sections. I will come across those things. And today itself, I will try to show one of the practice tests. And after the listening test, there will be the reading section. So reading section again contains 60 minutes. That means 1 hour. And in that, within that test, there are 3 reading passages where you need to focus on within 20 minutes. That's how the 60 minutes altogether comes. And after that, we are coming to the writing test, which again runs for 1 hour. That means 60 minutes. There are 2 components. I will explain. The IELTS examination contains the general test as well as the academic test. So disregarding those 2 sections, whether it is academic, whether it is the general test, you have 2 components. So for the academic test, we have the bar chart or a graph description question. And also the second one will be a academic essay. So for the general people, we have a letter writing as the task 1, and as the task 2, they also need to write an essay. So and the speaking test, which is very important, which lasts nearly for 11 to 14 minutes. So within again that speaking test, Mr. Sachit will let you all know there are several components where they will ask for general questions, and also there's a kind of a face-to-face interview. You need to speak on a given subject like that. So all in all, the total test time is 2 hours and 45 minutes, excluding the breaks. But you need to keep in mind with regard to the listening, reading, and writing, those 3 tests will be having at a stretch without a break. So the speaking test will occur on another day, maybe within 7 days after the listening, reading, and writing components. So this is the straightforward structure of the IELTS examination or the test. So you need to specifically focus on these areas. That's why I have mentioned the timing in front of all these things, because the timing is the key to score a higher band in the IELTS examination. So moving to the listening test, because which is usually the first test in the IELTS component. This listening test timing is 30 minutes. So within this 30 minutes, you will get 4 sections and also 40 questions. Is that clear? Because that's why I want to clarify first of all, the timing is the most important thing. With regard to the listening, the total time is 30 minutes. But keep in mind, after the 30 minutes, you will get a 10 minutes time to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. So that's a transferring time where you will be allowed to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. So altogether then you will be getting 40 minutes. Altogether you get it 40 minutes, but keep in mind I have mentioned they are specifically 30 minutes because the audio or these 4 sections will run for 30 minutes and 40 questions. So by now you need to have a good understanding. We have altogether 40 minutes and you need to answer 40 questions. So 1 minute per question. So while the audio is playing, you should be able to listen carefully and grasp the information and write the correct answer. Or it may be matching certain headings or something, or filling a diagram. It may vary. So for this listening test, the second point is you will be getting real world listening situations, because that's the purpose of having this kind of a listening examination. Because when you migrate to a foreign country, you should be able to identify or listen and understand a train schedule, or it may be a plane schedule. Or imagine if you are going to follow your higher studies, you should be able to listen to a lecture and grasp the information. So that's why I have mentioned these are real world listening situations. First, there will be a monologue, that means one person speaking. The second section, there will be 2 people having a conversation with regard to certain thing. And the third section, it may be 3 or 4 people having a conversation where you need to listen to each of their accents and pick up the important sections. And the last one may be a short extract of an lecture, most probably, because that's the academic test aiming to. By listening to a lecture, you should be able to understand, you should be able to identify the main ideas. And also keep in mind the difficulty level is also increasing. I mentioned there are 4 sections. So when I 4 sections, first section eකට වැඩිය, second section එක ටිකක් little higher. And from the second section to the third section, again a little higher. And the last section, that means an academic lecture part, can be a little difficult level. But though I mentioned it is difficult, if you listen to the audio carefully and go through your questions thoroughly, audio එකට ඇහුම්කන් දෙන ගමන්ම, if you can go through your questions thoroughly, you should be able to pick the more suitable answer. And also a range of topics and tasks. Sometimes it may be listening for specific information. You are listening for specific information, maybe a date or a place name. Or sometimes the bus is leaving at 7:30 a.m. So there will be unnecessary details talking, but you are asked to pick the time that the bus is leaving. So you should be able to focus on time factor. එතනදී බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ time එක තමයි. බස් එක යන වෙලාව, බස් එක යන්නේ කොහෙටද, ඒ විස්තර තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. It will be leaving to London within 20 minutes. Now it is 3 p.m. like that. ඔය වගේ timing කීපයක් තියෙනවා. you should be able to pick the specific information. Or it may be a specific name of a place where the second stop of the train will be, like that. You need to pick that name and put as the answer. And also, when you are moving on to the second and the third sections, you need to understand in the gist. What does this gist mean? A conversation එකේ පොඩි සාරාංශයක් සමහර වෙලාවට තේරුම් ගන්න අවශ්‍ය වෙනවා, because this is very important when you are focusing on an academic lecture, because sometimes during the lecture there will be a lot of things that they will be talking, but you need to understand the gist, meaning සාරාංශය මේකේ හොඳම කොටස. What is important thing you need to identify. Similarly, the last part, you need to understand the speaker's attitude or the opinion. Yeah, koi vidhi attitude එකකින්ද කතා කරන්නේ. I really don't like to talk about the sugary food. ඔය වගේ. අන්න ඒ වගේ යාගේ attitude එක, opinion එක, යා sugary foods වලට කැමති කෙනෙක්ද නැද්ද, අන්න ඒ වගේ දේවල් ටක් ගාලා පික් කරගන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ. So today itself, I tried to show you all certain questions, koi wage questions denne kiyala. So overall, you need to have this kind of an idea with regard to the listening test, because that's the starting test of your IELTS examination. Yes. So moving to the next slide, the listening test. There are, I told you, 4 sections in the listening test. So section 1, with it little bit easy part, it will be a conversation between 2 people set in an everyday social context. So ගොඩක් දුරටම section 1 එක, it will be a kind of a conversation between 2 people with regard to a certain everyday context. මොකක් හරි එදිනෙදා භාවිතයට ගන්න දෙයක් තමයි conversation එකේදී ගොඩාක් දුරටම තියෙන්නේ section 1 එකේ. So අනේ section 1 එකේ you need to answer questions 1 to 10 වගේ. Section 1 එකෙන් you need to answer question 1 to 10. That's how the exam goes. And after that, we are coming to the second section. It will be another audio. So these audios will be played only once. එකපාරයි මේ audio එකක් play කරන්නේ. So you need to pay your full attention. So section 2 එකක්, usually it will be a monologue. Usually a monologue කියන්නේ one person talking, set in an everyday social contents. Maybe example like a speech about local facilities. මොනවා හරි locally තියෙන facilities ගැන තනි පුද්ගලයෙක් කියන speech එකක් තමයි ගොඩාක් දුරටම section 2 එක. මෙන්න මේ section 2 එක little bit a higher version than the section 1. That's how the test progresses. මෙන්න මේ section 2 එකෙන් you will be asked to answer question 11 to 20. That's how it goes. Altogether 40 questions. Section 1 එකෙන් ප්‍රශ්න 10ක්, section 2 එකෙනුත් 10ක්. After that, we are coming to the section 3. So section 3, it can be a conversation between up to 4 people set in an educational or training context. So now the test moving to a little higher level, because it will be 2 or 3 people having a conversation with regard to an education or training context for the general exam. Training session එකක් ගැන මොනවා හරි තමයි තියෙන්නේ. Example, a university tutor and a student discussing an assignment. University lecturer කෙනෙකුයි students लाई assignment එකක් ගැන කරන පොඩි discussion එක. So මේක level එකක් higher වෙන්නේ ඉතින් ගොඩක් දුරටම there are different accents. That's also very important. මොකද තනි පුද්ගලයෙක්ගේ accent එකක් නම් අපිට ටක් ගාලා familiar වෙන්න පුළුවන්. මෙතන දෙතුන් දෙනෙක්ගේ accents තියෙනවා. So you should be able to focus on each one of them and fill in the answers, maybe to write short answers. Short answers තමයි ගොඩක් දුරටම එන්නේ. filling a table වෙන්න පුළුවන්. You may be given to fill a diagram වෙන්න පුළුවන් about the assignment. And finally the section 4. So section 4 is the last part where you need to answer the questions 31 to 40. Section 3 එක ගොඩක් දුරටම 21 to 30. Section 4 එකේ questions ගොඩක් දුරටම 31 to 40. Last section එක තමයි ගොඩක් දුරටම ඔය section 4 කියන්නේ. So mostly for the academic exam එකට it will be a monologue on an academic subject. ගොඩක් දුරටම ඇත්තම lecture එකක තියෙන පොඩි content එකක් තමයි section 4 එකකට එන්නේ. So මෙන්න මේ section 4 එක වගේ වෙද්දී you need to really focus on timing as well as the questions. දමදේ තමයි මේ audio එක play වෙන්න විනාඩි ගානකට කලින් questions ටික බලා ගන්න time එකක් දෙනවා. Go through the questions thoroughly. මොකද question ටික thoroughly බලලා තියාගත්තම you can do them very quickly while the audio is playing. මොකද එතකොට question එක ටිකක් familiar, යමුතුවෙන් කියව ඉන්න දෙයක් නෑ. You read the questions first. So when the audio is playing, you need to pick the correct answer. You need to pick the correct information. You may have only 1 or 2 minutes අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම එක question එකකට ගොඩාක් දුරට within 1 minute. අනේ timing එක පොඩ්ඩක් improve වෙන්නත් ඕනේ. So this is the sections of the listening test. So to talk about the listening strategies. So overall මෙන්න මේ වගේ listening test එකක් කොහොමද අපි face කරන්නේ? How are we going to face them? So as I mentioned you earlier, this recording is placed only once. Recording එක එකපාරයි play කරන්නේ. එතනදී ගොඩාක් දුරටම ඉතින් හොඳටම thorough listening එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. So the first tip or the first strategy is read questions carefully before listening. මොකද අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම exam එකේදී ඒ audio එක play කරන්න කලින් ඒ audio එක ඇතුළෙම තියෙනවා පොඩි කෑල්ලක්. Now read the questions 1 to 10 වගේ. Now read the questions 11 to 20 වගේ. Before the audio is playing, you will be given some time to read the questions. එක ලොකු කාලයක් ලැබෙන්නේ. Nearly 3 to 4 minutes වගේ තමයි ලැබෙන්නේ to read the question. So එතනදී you need to thoroughly put the questions into your head. ඒ කියන්නේ කටපාඩම් කරගන්න නෙවෙයි. question එකේ මොකක්ද ඇත්තටම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ කියලා you need to have a good understanding. සමහර වෙලාවට අර මං කිව්වා වගේ සමහර තැනක බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ time එක. The London bus will be leaving at අන්න කීයටද? එහෙනම් අපි ආයි වෙන අනම්මනම් නෙවෙයි. We need to focus on time. සමහර වෙලාවට times දෙකක් කියනවා. This was supposed to go at 3 p.m. but the bus actually went at 3:30. අන්න එතනදී ඉතින් කලබල වෙන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. බස් එක originally යන්න තිබ්බේ 3 p.m. වලට but actually it has gone at 3:30. So අන්න ඒ වගේ you need to focus really well. Timing අහන question එකක සමහර වෙලාවට timing ගැන දෙතනක කතා වෙන්න ඉඩ තියෙනවා. ඒ වෙලෙට පටල ගන්න එපා. Focus very carefully. බස් එක actually ගියේ කීයටද වගේ තමයි ඉතින් සමහර වෙලාවට question එකක්. So you need to pick the correct time. So the other thing is you need to familiarize yourself with question types. Because for the listening questions, ගොඩාක් දුරටම ඔය first section එකේ ගොඩාක් දුරටම සමහර වෙලාවට එන්නේ you need to complete a chart. කියන්නේ පොඩි chart එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ chart එකේ හිස් තැන් පුරවන්න වගේ තමයි ගොඩක් දුරටම සමහර වෙලාවට එන්නේ. Or sometimes you may need to selecting pictures. Computer based වගේ මොකක් හරි exam එක ලියනවනම් you need selecting pictures sometimes. And section 3 and section 4 sometimes note taking exercise එක තමයි ගොඩාක් දුරටම ඔයගොල්ලන්ගෙන් test කරන්න බලන්න. Note taking because you are listening to an academic context thing. you are taking down notes. මොනවද ඒක කියවෙච්ච වැදගත්ම දේවල්. මේ lecture එකේ ප්‍රධාන පරමාර්ථය මොකක්ද? The primary aim of this lecture to give a brief overview of the IELTS examination. අන්න ඒ වගේ එකකදී මම දැන් කොච්චර අනම්මනම් මේවා කියුවත් you need to take the gist. That means the give an overview of the IELTS exam. අන්න ඒක තමයි ප්‍රධානම main idea එක. Or sometimes multiple choice questions, MC questions. කීපෙකුත් එන්නත් පුළුවන් listening වලට. So these are the certain listening strategies that you need to be focusing on. Main thingly, you need to read the questions carefully. මොකද අන්නේ questions ටික ගාලා කියව ගත්තම අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම time එකකුත් ලැබෙනවා questions ටික පොඩ්ඩක් කියව ගන්න. You need to ඇත්තටම question එක තේරුම් ගැනීමට වඩා එතනදී ගොඩාක් දුරටම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්න ඕනේ මේකේ මොකක්ද අහන්නේ. මෙතන අහන්නේ time එකක්, මෙතන අහන්නේ place එකක නම. මෙතන අහන්නේ මේ වගේ දෙයක්, අන්න ඒ වගේ quickly පොඩි overview එකක් ඔළුවේ තියාගන්න. මොකද එතකොට audio එක play වෙද්දි හරි ලේසි. මෙතෙන්ට time එක you need not to spend much more time on that. ටක් ගාලා එතකොට second එකට යත හැකි. second එකේ place එකක් අහන්නේ. ඒකට අහුම්කම් දුන්නා you fill that. So these are the general listening strategies. So while we are doing actual tests, I will guide you how to do those things. So what is important is the practice, because through practice you can master these skills. So for an example, sample listening test. Hope my screen is visible to you all. Listening test that you will be receive. So this style test is designed to assess a wide range of listening skills. So those skills may be understand main ideas and specific factual information. Or it may be to recognize opinions, attitudes, or the purpose of the speaker. Or you may need to follow the development of an argument. Kakari argument එකක development එකක් වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. So as I told you earlier, format means there will be 4 recordings. Recording 1, 2, 3, and 4. So timing is very important. The IELTS listening test takes approximately 30 minutes. So it is for 30 minutes. And you are allowed an extra 10 minutes to transfer your answers from your question booklet to the answer sheet. So altogether for the test, you will be getting 40 minutes. Number of questions 40 and you get 40 minutes. Question you should do not spend more than 1 minute. Yes, so from here, I just want to show you all sample listening. So usually for the listening test, there will be these kind of set of instructions. In the actual test, you will be given the following instructions like, do not open this question paper until you are told to do so. Write your name and candidate number in the spaces. On general instructions at the beginning of the listening test. So here I just want to play your actual listening audio.
Test 1. You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Now turn.
Yes, so that's how the usual listening test starts. So I just want to show you all while the audio is playing. usually the first section, it will be asking for a question like this, a destination. So your answer should be something like this: harbor city, something like that. And the other questions will be the express train leaves at. Things that you need to quickly read before the audio is playing. So ගොඩක් දුරටම express train leaves at. එහෙනම් ගොඩක් දුරට මෙතන අහන්නේ වෙලාවක්. So අන්න ඒ වගේ ඔළුවේ තියන්න ඕනේ. The nearest station is ළඟම station එක. එහෙනම් නම. The number 706 bus goes to. අන්න ඔය වගේ questions ටිකක් තමයි ඉතින් ගොඩාක් දුරට වෙන්නේ. So you need to focus on the audio and quickly pick these answers. මොකද ගොඩාක් දුරටම thorough understanding එකක් thoroughlyම එකක් නෙවෙයි, ගොඩාක් දුරටම what is expected, you need to pick that from the audio and answer. යන වෙලාවක්, යන destination එකක්, බස් එක කොහෙටද යන්නේ, something like that will be the first audio. මේ audio එක පොඩ්ඩක්, was it audible enough? audio එක ඇහුණාද?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. So
To Section 1. Section 1. You will hear a conversation between a clerk at the inquiries desk of a transport company and a man who is asking for travel information. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5.
So like that, the listening test is progressing. I just want to give a brief idea about the progress of the listening test. So at the same time, keep in mind, at the end of this test, you will be getting 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the mark sheet. So අනේ 10 minutes ඇතුළත ටක් ගාලා answer sheet එකට ඒ ටික transfer කරගන්න ඕනේ. I will show you a sample answer sheet also towards the end of this session. Yes. So the next one is, usually that's how the listening test progress, and after that you will be having the reading test. The reading test also, as I mentioned, it 60 minutes. So the listening test 40 minutes, but immediately after that you will have the reading test, which runs for 60 minutes. That means 1 hour. So within this reading test, there will be 3 reading passages. Passages තුනක් ගොඩක් දුරට මෙනවා. අර listening එක හා සමානමයි. First passage එක little bit easy, can be done quite all right, but the second and the third one little higher in difficulty level. So that means 60 minutes තියෙන, එහෙනම් passages තුනක් තියෙනවා. Then one passage එකකට do not spend more than 20 minutes. අනේ timing හොඳට ඔළුවේ තියෙනවා. කියන්නේ you should not spend more than 20 minutes for one passage. And again, totally, there will be 40 questions. එතනදී ගොඩක් දුරටම මතක තියාගන්න 40 questions තිබ්බට එතන ඉඳලා 60 minutes වලට ඉතුරු විනාඩි 15 ඉතුරු විනාඩි 20 ගොඩාක් දුරටම අපි allocate කළ යුත්තේ for reading the passage. මෙන්න මේ passage එක ගොඩාක් දුරටම read කරන්න තමයි we need to allocate that time. Earlier listening test වලදී 40 minutes තියෙනවා, 40 questions මයි තියෙන්නේ. So ඒ කියන්නේ 1 minute තමයි එක question. Namuth here the reading test altogether contains 60 minutes. May within 60 minutes you need to do 3 reading passages. Ehenang eka reading passage ekakata you need to allocate 20 minutes. Altogether 40 questions. So for this reading question, these passages are taken from books, magazines, journals and newspapers. Academic test එකේදී ගොඩාක් දුරටම ඉතින් academic subjects වලට බාර reading passage තුනක් තමයි එන්නේ. General test එකේදී ගොඩාක් දුරටම ඉතින් traveling සම්බන්ධයෙන් magazines, journals and newspapers වලින් තමයි ගොඩාක් දුරටම එන්නේ. So for this reading question, the question types ගොඩාක් දුරටම find detailed information තමයි. ගොඩාක් දුරටම පැසේජ් එකේ තියෙන ඩීටේල් ටික සිලෙක්ට් කරගන්න තමයි. And also sometimes you need to identify attitudes and views. ඒක ලියලා තියෙන authorගේ attitude එක view එක කොයි වගේ. Sometimes you need to complete a diagram. කලින් listing එකේ වගේම reading passage එක අනුසාරයෙන් you need to complete a diagram sometimes. සමහර වෙලාවදී එහෙම diagram එකක් fill කරන්නත් වෙන්න. I will show you a sample reading strategies. මොකද මේකෙත් you need to follow the tips very carefully. These reading strategies are very important because you need to identify the reading skills being tested. So ගොඩක් දුරටම passage එකක් දීලා තිබ්බට සමහර වෙලාවට මුල් questions ටික දැන් all together 40 questions තියෙනවානේ. ඔන්න 40 questions වල මුල් questions ටික ගොඩාක් දුරට මෙන්නේ ටග් ගාලා passage එකෙන් හරි උත්තරේ pick කරගෙන blank එකේ ලියන්න. සමහර වෙලාවට අර කලින් bus train schedule එක වගේ තමයි. සමහර වෙලාවට question එක අහලා තියෙන කාගේ හරි නම. ඒ වෙලාවට මුළු passage එකම thoroughlyම read කරගෙන යන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. ටග් ගාලා question එකේ clues තියෙනවා. මෙන්න මේක passage එකේ යෙදෙන තැන කොතනද කියලා. ටග් ගාලා අන්නේ ඒ තැනට refer කරා answer එක හොයාගත්තා මෙතෙන්ට දැන්. Because there are certain reading techniques. මෙන්න මේ passages IELTS passages reading passages attempt කරද්දී reading techniques කීපයක් තියෙනවා like skimming and scanning. මම මේවා reading මේවා කරද්දී explain කරන්න today we are just giving an overall. මොකද ඔය skimming scanning වලදී ගොඩාක් දුරටම මතක තියාගන්න ඕනේ these are not thorough readings. Skimming කිව්වේ you are doing a very surface level reading. හරියට බැලුවොත් බොහෝම උඩින් පල්ලෙන් නිකන් newspaper එකක headlines කියවනවා වගේ. අපිට අවශ්‍ය තොරතුරු කොතනද තියෙන්නේ උඩින් බලාගෙන ගියා ටග් ගාලා එක පික් කර අතල. මොකද passage එක thoroughlyම word to word තේරුම් ගන්න word to word understanding එකක් අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. Sometimes you just need to have a surface read. හැබැයි towards the latter part questions වලින් අර 30 40 වගේ questions වලට යද්දි පොඩ්ඩක් සමහර section තියෙන පොඩ්ඩක් කියවලා writer ගේ attitude එක writer ගේ opinion එක වගේ select කරගන්න questions එහෙම ටිකක් අඩුයි තියෙන්නේ. ගොඩාක් දුරටම මුල් හරියේ යෙදෙන questions you can do within 1 or 2 minutes. අන්න ඒව ටග් ගාලා කළා අර පහළ තියෙන questions වලට කාලය ඉතුරු කරගන්නත් දැනගන්න. So that's why these reading techniques are known as skimming and scan. ගොඩාක් දුරටම scan කිව්වේ it's more like a scan. අපි scan කරගෙන යනවා what we need to check. අපිට අවශ්‍ය දේ තමයි අපි check කරගන්නේ scanning එකේ. උඩින් කියවගෙන යනවා මෙන්න මේකේ මෙන්න මේක 7:30ට තමයි මෙතන lecture එක start කරන්නේ. ටග් ගාලා එතනින් ගත්තා answer එක තිබ්බා. Like that. So both techniques refer to surface reading. බොහොම මතු පිටින් කියවීමක් තමයි ගොඩක් දුරටම කරන්නේ. ඊට අමතරව තමයි යෙදෙන්නේ you need to do a bit thorough reading for certain questions. ඒකත් මුළු passage එකම thorough reading නෙවෙයි. මොකද reading passage එකෙත් paragraphs 7ක් හෝ 8ක් තමයි එන්නේ පොඩි paragraph. So සමහර වෙලාවට මේ අන්තිමම paragraph දෙක වගේ වෙන්න පුළුවන් හොඳට thorough read කරලා writer ගේ attitude එක හොයන්න. So those things you need to be very careful. So මෙන්න මේකෙදි ගොඩක් දුරටම academic versus general training readings ගැන පොඩි අවබෝධයක් තියෙනවා. So මුලින්ම මම කතා කරනවා academic test එකේ academic readings කොයි වගේද කියලා. So each section contains one long text. Academic reading එකේදී ගොඩාක් දුරටම හැම reading paragraphs තුනම passages තුනක් එනවා. අන්නේ passages තුනම පොඩි long text. Texts are authentic and are taken from books, journals, magazines and newspapers. So ගොඩක් දුරටම academic පැත්තට බර passages තමයි එන්නේ. They have been written for a non-specialist audience. So එහෙම කියලා ගොඩාක් දුරටම engineering section එකෙන් වගේ අහන paragraph නෑ. නමුත් engineering පැත්තට related දේවල් අහන්න. medicine පැත්තට චුට්ටක් related දේවල් අහන්න පුළුවන්. On academic topics of general interest. එහෙම කියලා අර ගොඩාක් දුරටම technical terms දාලා ගොඩාක් academic ම බර නෑ but related to that topic. So these texts are appropriate and accessible to test takers entering undergraduate or postgraduate courses. මොකද ඔය academic test එක ගොඩාක් දුරටම cater කරන්නේ අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම if you are going to follow higher studies. පිටරට ගිහිල්ලා higher studies or professional registration වලට අවශ්‍ය අයව තමයි ගොඩාක් දුරටම academic test එකෙන් judge කරන්නේ. So academic reading passages ගොඩාක් දුරටම අන්න ඒ පැත්තට බරයි. So these texts are ranging from descriptive and factual to the discursive and analytical. So ගොඩාක් දුරටම paragraph 1 එක නම් ගොඩාක් දුරටම section 1 එකේ එන paragraph 1 එක ගොඩාක් දුරටම bit easy you can tackle, but the second and the third ones little bit higher in the difficulty level. You need to check for the facts. That's why it means factual and discursive and analytical. පොඩ්ඩක් analyze කරලා බලන්න ඕන paragraphs තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. So text may contain non-verbal material such as diagrams, graphs, or there may be illustrations. පොඩි graph, diagrams, graph එහෙම හිතන් තියෙන්න පුළුවන් මේ passages. So if they have used technical terms, සමහර බොහොම අමාරු technical terms use කරලා දීලා නම් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම they provide a simple glossary. ඒකේ තේරුම තියෙන පොඩි glossary එකක් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම දෙනවා. කියන්නේ that doesn't mean each and every paragraph contains a technical term, but some paragraph have technical glossary because මොකද සමහර audience එකකට ඒ technical terms familiar නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Yes. ඒ වගේමයි general test එකේදී general training reading section එකේදී section 1 contains 2 or 3 short factual tests. අරතරම්ම lengthy නෑ, නමුත් short factual test, one of which may be composites of 6 to 8 short text related to some hotel advertisements. hotel එකක මොකක් හරි advertisement එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, පොඩි travel arrangement එකක් ගැන වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. ගොඩාක් දුරටම අරක තරම් academic subject වලට බර නැහැ. So these are topics are relevant to everyday life in an English speaking country. So ගොඩාක් දුරටම මේ test වල පරමාර්ථයත් ඒක තමයි. When you go abroad, you should be able to read and understand certain thing. අනේ පරමාර්ථයෙන් තමයි ඔය hotel advertisement එකක්. නැත්නම් කොහේ හරි තියෙන travel arrangement එකක් කියවලා තේරුම් ගන්න පුළුවන් තත්වයකට එන්නේ. And the section 2 contains 2 short factual tests focusing on work related issues. So section 2 එක ගොඩක් වෙලාවට work related issue එකක් ගැන එන passage එකක්, paragraph. Like applying for a job, නැත්නම් මොකක් හරි company policies, pay and conditions or workplace facilities, නැත්නම් staff development and training, and actually job related මොකක් හරි related passage එකක් තමයි එතන general training අයට ලැබෙන්නේ. And section 3 contains one long more complex text on a topic of general interest. මම කියවනේ listening test එකේ sections 4ක් තියෙනවා. first එකට වැඩිය second එක ටිකක් අමාරුයි, third එක තව ටිකක් difficult level, fourth එක difficult level එකෙන් එහෙම කියලා ගොඩක්ම difficult නෑ. Reading වලත් එහෙමයි, section 1, 2 and the 3 with a longer text. So these texts are again authentic and taken from notices and advertisements. සමහර වෙලාවට දාපු notice එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. සමහර වෙලාවට advertisement එකක්. company handbook එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, නැත්නම් official document, books, magazine, newspaper ඕන එකකින් ගත්ත paragraph එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So that's the general training reading එකක් තියෙන්නේ ගොඩක් දුරට. There are certain tips that you need to get through the test within time limit. So you have 60 minutes to complete 40 questions. So manage your timing is very crucial. ඒ කියන්නේ එක passage එකකට do not spend more than 20 minutes. That's how you need to manage your time. So as the test progresses, the sections increase in difficulty. So that's why you need to manage your time really well. Sometimes you can keep more time for the last sections. So make sure you allow yourself enough time to complete each section. And also you may find you are able to get through the first section more quickly. That's another tip. There are 3 passages. So the first one you can do a bit quickly, giving you more time to spend on more challenging questions. You need to focus on more challenging questions with little more time. So that's also very important when it comes to the reading text. And our Sachit sir also will brief you on this test later. And moving from that, again, I want to tell you all that you need to practice the reading passages really well, because through practice, you can really improve the reading passages. Sajid sir, you want to add something?
Yes. So once you're done, I'll take over the for the speaking section a little bit.
Yes. Sure. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yes, Ms. Pivindi, actually 40 questions and 40 minutes. Other 20 minutes actually for the reading. Yes, again, 20 minutes mean you should be able to time. Do not spend more time on the reading the first passage, but allocate more time to the second and the third passage. Quickly reading. That means you should not read the passage from the beginning to the end, but make sure that you do a very rough reading, like a skimming and saying. You pick what is important for you. So when we are doing the reading sections, I can guide you all. Yes. And I'll briefly go to the writing section also. That is also a very important part. So again, keep in mind, for the writing, we have 60 minutes. So within this 60 minutes, you have 2 tasks. Task දෙකක් තියෙනවා මෙන්න මේ writing section එකේ. So task 1 එක ගොඩාක් දුරටම you need to academic නම් ගොඩාක් දුරටම academic test එකේ තියෙන්නේ graph එකක් describe කරන්න, or to describe a pie chart, or maybe to describe a process. ගොඩක් හරි දීලා තියෙන process එකක් describe කරන්න. අන්න ඒකට ගොඩක් දුරටම 20 minutes තමයි allocate කළ යුත්තේ. A descriptive report of a table or a diagram within 150 words. Task 2 is an essay. Anivarema, whether it is general or whether it is academic, the task 2 is a essay type. Essay, you need to write an essay. You need to allocate 40 minutes. Altogether, that's how the 1 hour is. So the 60 minutes happening. So your essay should be nearly 250 words in response to an opinion or a problem. Mostly ගොඩක් දුරටම මෙතන essay topic එකක් වගේ නෙවෙයි එන්නේ. I will show you a sample one also. You will be given an opinion. And based on an opinion, you need to develop a short essay. So you need to write to the point. At the same time, you need to manage it within the 40 minutes. So mostly you need to discuss issues. ගොඩක් දුරටම learning English is very important these days. So in something like that. You need to construct an argument and use the appropriate tone and the register. Because writing is very important, because a lot of people finding it difficult, because purely it is writing. You need to describe a diagram, or you need to describe a process, and also the essay. You need to be very thorough on that. You need to write to the point. You can't just go on describing these things. Better, you need to write to the point with short and sweet sentences. ගොඩාක් දුරටම you should not write lengthy sentences. ගොඩාක් දුරට කමා දදා long sentences ලියන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. To make grammar and other appropriate things are correct, you can go for short and sweet sentences. I will discuss when talking them in detail. So again, general writing strategies with regard to that, again, you need to read the questions carefully. You need to thoroughly read what it is actually asking for. Graph එකක් කොහෙම ලැබුණම ගොඩාක් දුරටම you need to check the main trends in the graph. It may be a line graph, it may be a bar chart. You need to check the trends. මොනවද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? Trend එකක් වැඩි වෙලාද? Trends අඩු වෙගෙන ගිහිල්ලාද? What is the most significant thing? මේ මුළු graph එක පුරාවටම තියෙන significant එක මොකක්ද? Like that. So we will be talking them in detail when we are doing the writing sessions later. So you need to get familiarized with descriptions of data, graph එකක් analyze කරනවා නම්, and practice formulating your own ideas on topics. Again, here I want to talk to you about the academic writing and the general writing. So academic writing, man කලින් කිව්වා වගේ, you are presented with a graph or a table or a chart and asked to describe. So what is expected from you is to summarize or explain the information in your own words. මුළු graph එකේම තියෙන හැමදේම explain කරනවට වැඩිය you need to summarize and talk about the important points. ප්‍රධානම දේවල් තමයි අපි describe කළ යුත්තේ. So you may be asked to describe and explain data. Describe the stages of a process. මොකක් හරි process එකක stages ටික. And after that, we are coming to the essay. මොකක් හරි issue එකක් දීලා අන්නේ issue එක පදනම් කරගෙන you need to build up an argument. You need to write a good essay for 250 words. So the issues are of general interest, suitable for and easily understood by test takers entering the undergraduate or the postgraduate studies. So it's a little higher version. But when it comes to the general training writing, task 1 එක ගොඩාක් දුරටම to write a letter. You need to write a letter. It may be personal or semi-formal or neutral in style. ඒක ගොඩාක් දුරටම personal වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්, semi-formal වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. You will be given a situation depending on a kind of a general interest. යාළුවෙක්ට යවන letter එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So you can write it in a personal way. I will try to show one of these things also. And also there will be the essay also for the general people. So the essay can be slightly more personal in style than the academics. So for an example, yes. So I just want to show you a sample letter that is expected from you all. It's kind of a very personal letter. Excuse me. Yes, so dear Caroline, thank you for agreeing to house sit for me. If you need to contact me during my holiday, I'll be staying at the Imperial Hotel in Mandelberg. Like that. Very personal type letter. You are expected to. So that's why I want to show you all these things. So a letter එකේදී ගොඩක් දුරටම දැන් question එකට අදාළව he is expecting to house sit his friend. එයාගේ ගේ බලා ගන්න කියලා. So you need to give specific details. My cat needs to be fed twice daily. So each morning and evening put a handful of cat biscuits in his dish. And first you are thanking him. ඊට පස්සේ you can contact me. ඒ වගේ contacts දීලා තියලා. And what are the things that you need to do? ගේ බලා ගන්නවනේ. What are the things you need to do? You need to feed my cat. You will find these in the kitchen pantry. And please check throughout the day to make sure he has fresh water. Like that. So this is the writing task 1. And after that, I would like to water my plants too. The indoor ones in the launch only need water once, and you end the letter. And also the essay. So essay should be something like this. I'm just showing this model answer. But when we are doing it, we will be thoroughly talking those things. The argument over whether learning at home or at school is better for children has not been settled yet. අන්නනම්. ගොඩක් දුරට මේක තමයි topic එක. ඒක තමයි argument එක develop කරන්න දීලා තියෙන sentence එකක්. You can take directly from it and you can go on right. Yes, so this is how the writing component goes on. And the speaking test, again, I will briefly give you all because we have an expert with regard to our speaking test. We have the expert tutor, Mr. Sajid. He will guide you all. So I just briefly telling the speaking test, it is 10 to 15 minutes. So again, there will be 3 parts. There will be a general introduction and interview, which lasts for 4 and 5 minutes. And the part 2, individual talk. You will be given a topic and you need to respond. But Mr. Sajid sir will guide you all throughout this. He's an expert with regard to this section. And part 3 is again 4 to 5 minutes kind of a discussion topics. So those are the things I just want to briefly overview of this regard to the IELTS examination. Yes, so you can ask any question, any clarifications you want to make. මොනවම හරි නොතේරෙන දෙයක් you can ask now. And after that, I can hand over to Mr. Sajid. Yes, anything you want to ask? Is any questions? Mr. Sajid, you can take over now.
Thank you. Thank you, Indime.
Yeah.
Bit of things that I want to explain before starting this speaking section. Before you come to your test, make sure that you bring your ID, very important, and make sure that you come to the exam early, because early ආවන් පස්සේ ඔයාට තියෙන anxieties වගේ confidence level ඔක්කොම වැඩි වෙනවා. I think it's very important that you come to the test on time. And ඒ ටික තමයි අපි speaking section එක පටන් ගමු. Speaking section එකේ first part එකේදී තියෙන small talk එකක්. Small talk එකෙන් වෙන්නේ examiner අහනවා වගේ where do you live, where do you work, where do you study, that sort of questions. Then ඒ වගේ questions අහද්දී don't just say yes or no, and you have to explain a little bit, but not too much as well. Like, okay, where do you live? I live in Panadura. It's a nice area. That sort of answer is enough. ඊට පස්සේ examiner will start talking about a topic. Okay, let's talk about Panadura. So what sort of a city is it? කියලා එයාගෙන් topic එකක් discussion එකකට ගන්න පුළුවන් part 1 එකේදී. ඊට පස්සේ part 2 එකේදී ඔයාට task card එකක් හම්බෙනවා. task card එකේදී prompt එකක් තියෙනවා. prompt එකක් කියන්නේ topic එකක්. ඒ topic එකේදී 3 dot points තියෙනවා. ඒකේ තියෙන්නේ තනිකරම WH questions. WH questions කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා ඇහුවොත් WH questions කියන්නේ where, how, what, ඒ වගේ කියන questions. ඒ questions වලදී වෙන්නේ හුඟක් තවත් වැඩියෙන් විස්තර ඒ topic එක ගැන අහන එක. But there will be only 3 dot points. So ඒ questions තුනක් තමයි අහලා තියෙන්නේ. And there will be a follow-up question as well in part 2. Okay. And I'll quickly go to the part 3 as well. Part 3 එකේදී වෙන්නේ deep discussion එකක්. This discussion එකේදී task card initiated topic එකේදී ඒ කියන්නේ අපි task card එකේදී ගත්ත topic එක තව දුරටත් deeply explain කිරීමක් තමයි වෙන්නේ එතනදී එතකොට ඒ topic එක අපි හිතමු okay what is your view on artificial intelligence taking over the jobs ඒක තවත් deeply discuss වෙනවා task 3 එකේදී එතකොට ඔයාට define කරන්න වෙනවා in the sense define කරන්න වෙයි what is artificial intelligence explain කරන්න වෙනවා argue කරන්න වෙනවා list කරන්න වෙනවා classify compare and contrast and describe your opinion it's what matters is your opinion in there okay and also just don't say yes or no for these questions as well it's very important that you give your opinion in fluent English and scoring validity factors hatak especially important when our fluency coherence vocabulary range precision again vocabulary precision kyane word choice එක word choice එක කියන්නේ හරියට අපි කොහොමද ඉංග්‍රීසි වචන යෙදුම් හරියට භාවිතා කරනවද කියන එක තමයි එතනදී බලන්නේ. එතකොට grammatical range එක, grammatical accuracy and pronunciation. Pronunciation එකත් very important. එතනදී doesn't mean that you have to come up with a fake accent, but you have to talk clearly to the examiner. Now, the good thing about the IELTS is that there's a human involved, unlike in PTE. But if you make any mistakes while you're in your speaking section, you can say sorry, and I'll start that again. But if you take our classes, you won't be in that situation. Okay. But if you do that in PTE, our PTE expert will tell you, Chaturanga sir kiyai sorry.com tamai. Okay. So that's what I want to tell. Hope you guys have a good day. I'll let you guys go now. I'll hand it over to Idumini again. Idumini?
Yes, thank you, Sarkit. Thank you very much. So that's how the classes will flow on. Sarkit will do a very good job with regard to the reading section as well as your speaking section. Because what matters is you try to understand these tips and you manage your time. That's the key to get the success. So we won't be keeping you for so long. If you need any clarifications, I would like to answer you all. Anything you want to ask, anything. සියල්ලම පැහැදිලිද? Yes, so practice sessions දෙකක් තුනක් කරද්දී තමයි you will be familiarizing with these things. මොන section එකද ඉක්මනට කරන්න ඕනේ, which section that you need to speed up. ඊට පස්සේ කොහොමද sections 3 and 4 වලට time ඉතුරු කරගන්නේ. practice එකකම තමයි එන්නේ. Yes, then thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining with us.